Salut mon pote, comment ça va? Welcome to this chapter number 2 of this French course, first unit. Today is going to be a big chapter that we are going to go through together because today we are going to review greetings and how to introduce yourself. So this is going to be the goal of today. Okay, by the end of this chapter, you will be able to introduce yourself in French. No, I don't want you to be learning by heart sentences that you don't understand. I want you to actually understand what you're saying. So this will imply that I introduce you to grammar and conjugation. If I want you to understand what you're saying, you need to understand a bit of conjugation, and that's why it's going to be a big chapter. But don't worry, we will go through this little by little, step by step, together. Okay? Let's go. These are the seven steps that we are going to review today. How to say hello in French, how to do physical contact when you greet someone, because you know French people, they like to do like, or to shake hands or to hug or this kind of thing. So how to actually do it properly, how to tell your name and ask for someone's name, how to say Enchanté, okay, what's this word, how to tell and ask nationalities, age, and eventually how to say goodbye. So this is what I consider to be the really basic introduction, okay? Saying hello, greeting someone, telling your name, your nationality, your age, and bye-bye, okay? We keep it simple for today, but you will see that's quite a lot already. C'est parti. I want to start by showing you a scene of a very famous movie, a very famous French movie called OSS 117. So OSS 117 is a comic movie. It's a comedy, a funny movie. Okay, very famous in France. And so in this scene, I want you to understand, if you can, what word do we use to say hello in French?
Tiens, bonjour Fayol.
Bonjour de la batte.
Bonjour Lutran. Bonjour de la batte. Salut Corbier.
Bonjour Hubert.
Bonjour de la batte.
Poulard.
Bonjour, bonjour.
Ah, bonjour de la batte. Et alors, ce ski?
Très bien, je vous remercie le dentu. Et vous, vous allez bien?
Comme un lundi.
Elle est pas mal celle-là. J'aime bien.
Ça va? Did you pick up the words? There are two words used here. Let's review them.
Tiens, bonjour Fayol.
Bonjour de...
Obviously, the first one is this one right here. Bonjour. Bonjour.
la batte.
Bonjour Lutran. Bonjour de la batte. Salut Corbier.
Bonjour Hubert.
Second one, he just said it.
Bonjour de la
Salut.
Bonjour Hubert.
He says
Bonjour,
salut
Lutran.
Corbier.
Bonjour de la batte. Salut Corbier.
Salut right here. What's the difference between bonjour et salut? So, which are the two main ways to say hello in French? So, bonjour is the most generic way to say hello in French. Okay, it's equivalent to hello in English. You cannot go wrong with it. It's always appropriate. Okay. Now, salut is somehow kind of the equivalent of hi in English. So it's more informal. You can say this to your friends, or you can say this in less formal context, but with strangers or people you have to pay respect to, or in like formal context, you will go for bonjour. Then, we didn't hear it in the video, but I just want to show you a nice one that I like. Bonsoir means good evening. So, bonsoir. I feel like it's a nice touch. You can say this to greet someone if it is like 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m., okay? If it is the evening. No. In English, you have good morning also to greet people in the morning. In French, it doesn't exist. Please don't try to invent one. I tell you right here, right now, it just doesn't exist. That's it. You cannot, don't try to create something with words that you heard. It doesn't exist. So we have bonjour, bonjour, salut, salut, et bonsoir, bonsoir. One more time. Bonjour, salut, bonsoir. But now there's a last way to greet people that you may have heard before. And I want you to watch this video, and before you see this video, I want to tell you that the video, in my opinion, is not exaggerated. From my personal experience as a native French person, this is actually literally how most people greet each other in the workplace in France. So the video doesn't exaggerate so much.
Salut, ça va? Victoire. André, ça va? Bonjour.
Ça va?
Ça va et toi?
Bien, bien.
Bonjour.
Salut, ça va? Comment ça va? Et toi? Super.
Okay, so I think you've been able to pick up the word I'm talking about is ça va. Ça va. If you've been in France before, and if you've heard French people speak before, you must have noticed that there's something about ça va that is just so strange because people say this all the time. So, what are the different ways that people use it?
Salut, ça va?
Salut. So we saw salut just now.
Salut, ça va?
Salut is an informal way to say hi. Donc, salut, ça va?
Victoire. André, ça va?
Ça va?
Bonjour.
Ça va?
Ça va et toi?
Bien, bien.
Ça va et toi?
Bonjour.
Salut, ça va? Comment ça va?
Comment ça va?
Super.
Okay, so we have ça va? Comment ça va? Ça va et toi? Ça va. You see, there's really something about ça va, right? So, just to be clear, ça va, as you can see here, can be used as a question or as an answer. Ça va in French means how are you? Okay? That's the generic way to say how are you. No, don't try to translate it because it's impossible to translate. Ça va must be considered as an idiom, an expression. It's like this. It lost its meaning. You cannot translate it literally. Okay, you have to learn it like this. Ça va. So, if I say ça va as a question, it means like, how are you? But the thing now is that when we ask this, we're not really asking how the person is going. How is the person? When we say ça va, it's just a way to say hi. So technically it means how are you, but we use it to say like, hi, how are you? But we're not, it's the same in English, I think. When you say like, hi, how are you? You're not really asking usually how the person is going. It's just a way of saying hi. And if I use ça va not as a question, then it means, yeah, I'm good, I'm fine. Okay? Now, the issue is, here you can see that this one is a question and this one is not, because there's an interrogation mark. But when I speak, there's no interrogation mark. So how do I know if it's a question or an answer? Well, it's all about the tone of your voice. When you ask a question in France, usually the tone of your voice will go up at the end of the sentence. And when you give an answer, usually the tone of your voice will go down at the end of your sentence. So if I am asking someone, how are they doing? How are you? It will sound like, ça va? Ça va? Obviously you can hear my voice is going up, right? Ça va? But now, if I'm saying, yeah, I'm fine, so I'm giving an answer, I will say, ça va? Ça va? So it will sound like, ça va? Ça va. How are you? I'm good. Ça va? Ça va. Going up for the question, going down for the answer. Très bien. Now you've heard in the video, comment ça va? Okay. I don't go in detail, but it's something like, comment ça va is the actual full question. It's just that it's common that we shorten it in ça va. So you don't have to learn comment ça va specifically, but just don't be surprised if you hear it from time to time. It's exactly the same. There is no difference. If someone replies to you ça va bien, it's exactly the same answer as ça va. Ça va is like, yeah, I'm fine. Ça va bien. I'm doing good. I'm good. All of these are idioms, you know. All of these are expressions that we don't think about too much. Okay? But at least you've been exposed to them. Now, something very interesting that we're going to see all along this video is the very famous et toi. Et toi literally means and you. Ça va? Et toi? I'm good. And you? I'm good. Okay? Et toi is the generic way to ask and you. Alright? So a dialogue can look like this. Bonjour. Ça va? Ça va et toi? Ça va. One more time, I want you to repeat after me. Bonjour. Ça va? Ça va et toi? Ça va. Ok? Très bien. One thing to pay attention to. In the chapter number 1, we have seen the alphabet and the phonetic alphabet, and we've seen that very often the letter C is pronounced as K. So you must have noticed by now that below the C, I put this strange thing right here. This is something we do from time to time in French. We will have the opportunity to talk about it more in the future. Don't overthink about it. Just know one thing. When we put this small thing below the letter C, this is because we want the C to have the sound S, like this. Okay? So if I see C-A, it will sound like K. But if I put this small thing below, suddenly it changes the pronunciation and it becomes sa. Alright? That's it. That's all there is to it. That's it. You know how to say hello in French. At least you know the main ways. No, the thing is that when you say hello to someone in France, very often you will have to greet them, right? Maybe you shake hands or you kiss them on the cheek like this. So let's review this part. The guidelines I'm going to give you right now, they are not meant to describe to you the full social dynamics of 2000 years of evolution of the French culture, but they aim at just giving you general guidelines that will work most of the time and mostly avoid awkward situations. That's my goal right here, okay? I just want you to avoid ending in awkward situations. So, how do we greet people physically in France? Depends on two things. First, is it a formal or informal context? Second thing, is it an interaction between men or between women or between men and women? This is the two parameters to take into account. So, here's a tab. You can pause the video here if you want to review it. It looks a bit strange to summarize physical contact that is supposed to be a natural thing to do, to summarize it into a very formal tab like this. But this is a summary of what I'm going to show you right now. Okay, so let's go context by context. First, formal context, then informal context, then friendly context. Formal context, like I told you, I want to give you guidelines to avoid awkward situation. So in a formal context, you just go for a handshake for everyone. Men, women, we don't care, you just go for a handshake. Formal context is complete strangers in a formal context, maybe an office, a work situation, something like this. You just go for handshake. Like this, you avoid any issue. Now, more tricky is the informal context, but not friends, you know. Because as I'm going to tell you later, if you are greeting your friends, then you don't need me to tell you how to greet your friends. You know how to greet your friends because they're your friends, right? So no, I'm not talking about friends. I'm talking about informal context. You know, maybe you're in France and you're meeting a friend of a friend. Or maybe you're in France and you you go to an event of expat people or foreign people, something like this, like to grab some drinks or eat in a restaurant. So it is an informal context, but you're not friends. You know what I mean? Okay. So with women, usually you will go for what we call la bise. La bise is when you kiss people on the cheek like this, like I have put on the pictures right here. Or nothing. You can just say hi like this and don't greet in any way. What I mean here is that usually you don't go for handshake with women in informal context. Most of the time you should go for la bise, whether it's between a man and a woman or whether it's between two women makes no difference. Now I've put you here a video that I found on YouTube that is quite nice and a bit fun on how to actually do la bise. Okay, so the kiss like this on the cheek. How should you do this? Let's go.
So these are the rules of doing la bise. Step 1, make eye contact. Step 2, take a step forward. Not too close.
Okay.
And not too far away.
Right.
Just about this distance. Step 3, put your hand on their arm or their upper shoulder.
Okay, I'm gonna go with arm.
And then you move in, applying your cheek to their cheek and making a little kissing noise. Now, in Paris, you start on the left and then you do 2 kisses.
That's really important to know which
Because
side.
or else you get into one of these and you don't want to get into one of those. Very important thing, never really kiss the cheek.
Because that's awful.
It's gross. And you also have to make a kissing noise because or else it just sounds empty. So, once again. And voila.
Perfect.
And don't forget, practice makes perfect.
Here we go. I have nothing more to explain. She said everything. Between men in informal context, most of the time you will go for a friendly handshake. That's it. I don't think I have to explain to you how to do a handshake, right? Okay, très bien. Finally, in a friendly context, well, obviously, anything is fine. Like I was saying, you don't need me to tell you how to greet your friends. So, once again, here's the full summary if you need. I hope this was clear enough for you because I know from experience that for people who go to France for the first time, maybe in a new job or an office, for example, they are often afraid of, oh, how am I supposed to greet my coworkers and everything. So here you go, you have the full explanation. Now, how to tell your name and how to ask for someone's name. And now we are going in the topic of conjugation, because if you want to say your name, you need to do just a little bit of conjugation. And I want to take this opportunity to introduce you to conjugation in French. So here we go. In France, the most basic kind of sentences you can do, like the base of the base, the foundation of the foundation, is un sujet, so a subject, un verbe, a verb, and then I've written here an object. This can be anything, basically. This can be anything that the verb is acting on, okay? But you have un sujet, un verbe, and then the rest, all right? The sujet can be anything, but I want you to learn these sujets first. This right here is absolutely essential vocabulary that I want you to learn by heart right now. These are what we call les pronoms personnels. These are the equivalent of, in English, I, you, he, she, we, they, etc. Okay? So these will be our main sujet most of the time. So let's review the pronunciation. Je, I, myself, I, okay? Je. Tu is you. Tu. Il is he. So I'm talking about another person and he's a man. It's for masculine people. Il. Elle. Elle is the same, but for women. I'm talking about she. Okay? Elle. These are the pronouns for singular sujet. when I'm talking about only one person. Je is myself, one person. Tu is you, one person. Il, elle, he or she is one person. Now, the one for pluriel for many people. Nous, on. They mean we. So we as a group, like we do this, we are, okay? There is two ways to say we in French, nous et on. For now, you will see this grammar in the future. We don't care so much about on, okay? We focus on nous. So forget about on, we focus on nous. Vous. Vous. To talk about you as a group of people. In English, you would say you and you, whether you're talking about one person or many people. In French, sorry, but we distinguish them. Donc on a vous. And then talking about they, in English, you don't distinguish they for men and women. In French, we do. So we have elle, il. You should notice that there is no difference of pronunciation between il singular and il pluriel. I write the difference because I put an S for the pluriel. So I write it, but I don't hear it when I pronounce it like this. I will hear it in the future because we will see how we link words together in French. But for today, as a word isolated, not in a sentence, I don't hear the difference. Il, elle, elle. Same. Okay? Très bien. Now the rule of when to use il and elle pluriel in French goes like this. If I have a group of men only, I will say il. If I'm talking about a group of women only, I will talk about elle. If I'm talking about a group of mixed men and women, regardless of the proportion of men and women, I will say il. Okay? As you will see in the future, in every context where there's like where we need a neutral pronoun between male and female, we use the male as the neutral. Okay? So we use il for male, elle for female, and in the neutral context, we use il as well. Okay? Très bien. One more time. Je, tu, il, elle, nous, vous, elle, il. These pronouns, you will use them every single day, every single minute when you speak French, all the time. So it's absolutely fundamental that you learn them now. Now, something very important. Something that there is no equivalent to in English. And that will be difficult for you in the beginning if English is your first language, so you will have to get used to it. In French, we have two speeches, a formal speech and an informal speech when we talk to someone. So when I'm talking to you, I distinguish a formal you and an informal you depending on the context. Tu is the informal you. If I'm talking to someone in a formal way, I will use vous. Which makes sense if you think that vous is the pronoun if I'm talking to a group of people. So if I'm talking to one person but using vous, it's as if I consider them to be as important as a whole group of people. So that's why we use vous to talk in the formal way. That's just a way to think about it. Okay? Again, tu in informal context, tu, talking to your friends, etc., etc. Vous, if you're talking to strangers or to coworkers or to people you don't know, your boss or these kind of things. For example, you go to a restaurant, you order some food, you will always talk to the waiter saying vous. If you start saying tu to a waiter, it's just very rude and impolite. Okay? Très bien. Now that we've seen the sujet, let's talk about the verb. Right. The thing that I want you to understand for today, the only thing I want you to understand is how does conjugation works in French. So in French, we have a lot of verb, and the verbs when I speak or when I write are the words that express the action that I'm doing in a generic way, okay? Verbs are the words that express action, the thing that's happening, okay? How do they work in French? Every verb has a form that is unconjugated. It's not conjugated. For example, the verb to visit in French, like to visit someone, is visiter. 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 I don't go in detail for now because we will really see the grammar of the verbs in the unit 1 of this course. But this right here is the not conjugated version of the verb. So I cannot really use it in this way. It exists in this way, but I don't really use it in this way. If I want to use it, I have to use it with the sujet to say who is doing the action. And how does it work in French? The beginning of the verb will always remain the same, and the ending will change depending on the sujet. So depending on who is doing the action. For example, je visite, I visit. Tu visites, you visit. Il visite, he visits. Nous visitons, we visit. Vous visitez, you visit as a group or talking to someone in a formal way. Ils visitent, they visit. Okay? That's it. You may have a lot of questions right now. I promise you we're going to address them in the future very soon. For today, it's not our point to review grammar in detail, but I just want you to be familiar with this concept of changing the ending of the verbs depending on the sujet. Okay? Finally, the object of the verb can be anything. Can be a book, can be myself, can be a chicken, can be a country, can be a painting, can be a city, can be anything. All right. Now, let's look at this very famous sentence. Je m'appelle Nicolas. Again. Je m'appelle Nicolas. Je m'appelle. Je m'appelle. Je m'appelle is the equivalent of my name is. Don't try to translate it literally, okay? It doesn't work this way. But it's the equivalent of my name is. Je m'appelle Nicolas. My name is Nicolas. What do we have here? First of all, we have this je that you've just seen right here. Je is the pronoun for myself. Whenever I conjugate a verb with je, I'm talking about myself. Je m'appelle Nicolas. Okay? Then, m'appelle, without learning this verb by heart, is just simply the verb s'appeler. S'appeler is the not conjugated version of the verb, and here I am conjugating it for je. Je m'appelle, and then there's my name. So obviously for you, you should not say je m'appelle Nicolas. You should say je m'appelle, putting another name. Okay? Okay, I've been talking for a lot of time, so I've made here a small compilations of a famous context in which you can hear the sentence je m'appelle. Okay? So that's just to take a small break of me talking.
Hélène. Je m'appelle Hélène. Je suis une fille comme les autres.
Je m'appelle Claude.
Je te call Blue.
No! Okay, maybe if we just break it down. Okay, let's try it one syllable at a time. Okay, so repeat after me. Je
Je
m'appelle.
m'appelle.
Great. Okay, faster. Je m'appelle.
m'appelle.
Je m'appelle.
Mais popo.
Okay, I think you get it. Je m'appelle is really the foundation of introducing yourself, telling your name. So, for me, je m'appelle Nicolas. For you, you should put your first name right here and practice pronouncing this sentence. Je m'appelle. Très bien. Now, if I'm talking about someone else, I want to say your name is, I'm talking to you, then I just have to change the pronoun into tu, because I am not talking about myself anymore, I'm talking about you. And I change the spelling of the verb because I have changed the sujet. So now I have tu t'appelles, par exemple, tu t'appelles Mehdi. Your name is Mehdi. Tu t'appelles Mehdi. Okay? And if I tell you tu t'appelles Mehdi, it means that we are already familiar with each other because I am using the informal way of speaking, right? If I want to use the formal way of speaking, can you tell me, can you convert this sentence into formal way? I told you everything you need to know for you to do this. Can you convert this sentence, tu t'appelles Mehdi, into the formal way? You can pause the video and think about it. C'est bon? Well, if I want to speak at the formal way, I have to use vous, right? So I will have vous appelez. Okay? Vous appelez Mehdi. Again, informal context. Tu t'appelles. Tu t'appelles. Tu t'appelles. Formal context. Vous appelez. We will review this in the next chapter. You can hear I make a link here between those two words. I don't go in detail for now. We will study this in detail in the next chapter. Vous appelez Mehdi. Très bien. This is formal. And now, if I replace the first name Mehdi by this word right here that we have actually seen at the beginning of the video when we saw comment ça va, it becomes what's your name? Okay? Vous vous appelez comment? What's your name? Comment is a question word. You cannot translate these questions literally in English. You must understand that these two sentences, they are the equivalent of what's your name in French. Okay? I don't review the full grammar of asking questions in this video, but just so you know, it is very common in French to ask question that we take a regular sentence and we replace the information, like for example here, the first name, by a question word. So I will have vous vous appelez comment? And I have this question. Again. Tu t'appelles comment? Tu t'appelles comment? Tu t'appelles comment? What's your name? In the informal way. No, in the formal way. Vous appelez comment? Vous vous appelez comment? Vous vous appelez comment? Très bien. Here's an example of a full informal dialogue. Bonjour. Bonjour. Tu t'appelles comment? Je m'appelle Mehdi. Et toi? Je m'appelle Sylvie. Okay, now I want you to, I will play the first part here. I will pause my voice and I want you to answer this part of the dialogue. Okay, let's start. Bonjour. Tu t'appelles comment? Je m'appelle Sylvie. All right, now we switch. You start. Bonjour. Je m'appelle Mehdi. Et toi? Très bien. Same with the formal way. All right. Bonjour. Bonjour. Vous vous appelez comment? Je m'appelle Mehdi. Et vous? Je m'appelle Sylvie. This is exactly the same dialogue, but in a formal way, which means that I will use vous, and instead of asking et toi, to say and you, I will ask et vous. All right, très bien. Let's go. We do the same exercise. Bonjour. Vous vous appelez comment? Je m'appelle Sylvie. Très bien, ça va? Now we switch. Tu commences. Bonjour. Je m'appelle Mehdi. Et vous? Très bien. Okay, we're moving very fast. Very easy. Enchanté. Okay. Enchanté is a word, same that cannot really be translated. Don't try. All of these introduction sentences, just take them as they are. Don't try to translate them literally in English, please, because it doesn't work this way. Enchanté means nice to meet you. It's a pleasure to meet you. It's our idiom, our expression to say nice to meet you. Enchanté. Again. Enchanté. Enchanté. So, right away, new dialogue. Bonjour. Bonjour. Tu t'appelles comment? Je m'appelle Mehdi. Et toi? Je m'appelle Sylvie. Enchanté. Enchanté. Nice to meet you. Yeah, nice to meet you. Okay? Repeat after me. Bonjour. Bonjour. Tu t'appelles comment? Je m'appelle Mehdi. Et toi? Je m'appelle Sylvie. Enchanté. Enchanté. Très bien. Okay. And now the formal way. So let's do the same exercise as before. You speak after me. Bonjour. Vous vous appelez comment? Je m'appelle Sylvie. Enchanté. Now we switch. You start. Bonjour. Je m'appelle Mehdi. Et vous? Enchanté. Très bien. Ok. Now, nationalities. How to tell your nationality in French. So, congratulations. here you are exposed maybe for the first time to the two most important verbs in French. These verbs are so important that they are what we call auxiliaires in French, which means that we use them not only in their own context, but we will also use them to do some conjugation tricks that you will learn in the future. So they are by far the two most used and the two most important verbs in French. Repeat after me. Être, être, which means to be. Avoir, avoir, which means to have. Okay? So these être et avoir are the unconjugated versions of the verbs. And now I will ask you to learn the conjugations by heart. It may seem like a lot to you, but you know this. I mean, you knew this was coming, right? I mean, sooner or later, you will have to learn them by heart. If it seems like too much for you right now, you can focus just on these three conjugations, because these are the ones that we're going to use today. Okay? Repeat after me. Je suis. Je suis. I am. Tu es. Tu es. You are. No, I really want you to focus on my pronunciation. As you can see, there are some funny spellings right here. Like you have a S, here you have ST, etc. Like I told you in the first chapter, French is not a phonetic language. The words, they are not pronounced in the way they are written. And a lot of these letters, they don't have to be, I mean, you don't pronounce them, a lot of these letters. So really pay attention to my pronunciation, okay? This is not S or S or I don't know what. This is only one sound, E. That's it. And guess what? This one is exactly the same. E. Il est. Elle est. Il est. He is. Elle est. She is. Nous sommes. Nous sommes. We are. Vous êtes. Vous êtes. Ils sont. Ils sont. Elles sont. Elles sont. They are for men, they are for women. Okay? I want you to learn this conjugation by heart. Alright? One more time. Je suis, tu es, il est, elle est, nous sommes, vous êtes, ils sont, elles sont. Très bien. So, je suis français. I am French. I use the verb être to say my nationality. Je suis français. I am French. Ok? Très bien. Français is my nationality. So what you have to do, I don't know obviously what is your nationality. So below this video in the course, I have put a resource file where you can see your nationality. So you can go check out this file. It's in alphabetical order and you can go check out what is your own nationality. And the words that you have for your nationality, you just put it here at the end of this sentence and you will have the full sentence. Pay attention to the gender. As you will learn very soon, in French, everything has a gender. And for nationalities, whether you're a man or a woman, there will be a difference in spelling and a difference in writing. Par exemple, for French people. Je suis français pour les hommes, for men. Je suis française for women. The pronunciation and the spelling is different. Sorry. Most of the time, the trick to go from male to female is to add the letter E at the end. But often you have to do something additional, like here, you have to put an N as well. Je suis algérien. Je suis algérien. I'm Algerian. For men, for women. Je suis algérienne. Je suis algérienne. Yen, yen. The pronunciation is different. Je suis chinois. Je suis chinois. Chinese for men. Je suis chinoise for women. Okay, so you can see there's a difference, so pay attention to your gender. Okay, now listen, there's a common way to ask for someone's nationality in French that is easy to understand, but I don't like it because it sounds too formal, so I don't want to show it to you. Instead, I am asking you to learn by heart a sentence that you don't understand. And I said in the beginning of the video that this was precisely what I didn't want you to do, but let's make just this one exception, okay? Because I promise to you that this way right here to ask for someone's nationality is just the best way. It just sounds good. It sounds like you're comfortable, it sounds like you're confident, it sounds like you understand the language, and it's just the best way to ask, okay? But it uses some grammar and some words that we haven't seen yet, and I don't want the chapter to be 3 hours long, all right? So just this one, I want you to learn it by heart. This is the most common way in French to ask, where are you from? Where do you come from? Where are you from? Tu, so the informal question, right? Tu viens d'où? Tu viens d'où? If you absolutely want to understand what it means, it's something like you come from where? So there's no trick or nothing weird right here, okay? Tu viens d'où? The answer will be, oh, je suis chinois. Let me explain. The easier way to ask would be to ask, what is your nationality? However, I think that asking someone, what is your nationality, sounds like you're working for the police or for the staff of an airport. I don't like how it sounds. I think it sounds too serious, too formal. In English, would you rather ask someone, hi, what is your nationality? Or would you prefer to ask, hi, where are you from? Where you come from? It sounds better to ask where you come from, right? So that's what I'm doing right here. I want you to ask where you come from, where do you come from, where are you from? Instead of asking, hi, what is your nationality? Which sounds like a robot question, in my opinion. The question, what is your nationality? We're going to see it in the Unit 1 of this course. Now, the formal way to ask, vous venez d'où? Vous venez d'où? Where do you come from? Formal way. Okay? Let's review this dialogue right here. First of all, you can pause the video and read it yourself and make sure that you understand everything. So in red is Mehdi talking and in blue it's Sylvie talking. You can repeat after me. Salut. Salut. Ça va? Ça va. Et toi? Ça va. Do you hear? Ça va? Going up. Ça va. Going down. Tu t'appelles comment? Je m'appelle Mehdi. Et toi? Je m'appelle Sylvie. Enchanté. Enchanté. Tu viens d'où? Je suis marocain. Et toi? Je suis suisse. So Mehdi is from Morocco. Sylvie is from Switzerland. Okay? Now, I start the dialogue and you answer. Salut! Ça va et toi? Tu t'appelles comment? Je m'appelle Sylvie. Enchanté. Tu viens d'où? Je suis suisse. Now we switch. You start. Salut, ça va? Ça va. Je m'appelle Mehdi. Et toi? Enchanté. Je suis marocain. Et toi? Très bien. Now, the formal dialogue. You can repeat after me. Bonjour. Bonjour. Vous vous appelez comment? Je m'appelle Petro. Et vous? Je m'appelle Sylvie. Enchanté. Enchanté. Vous venez d'où? Je suis albanais. Et vous? Je suis québécoise. Ok? Très bien. C'est parti. We do the same exercise. Bonjour. Vous vous appelez comment? Je m'appelle Sylvie. Enchanté. Vous venez d'où? Je suis québécoise. Très bien. Last one. We switch again. Wow, my throat is painful. I'm talking too much. You start. Bonjour. Je m'appelle Petro. Et vous? Enchanté. Je suis albanais. Et vous? Très bien. Ok, on continue. Last big part, how to tell your age and ask for someone's age. Okay? So I have mentioned in the previous part that être et avoir were the two most important verbs in French. And now we are coming to the biggest mistake that you are going to do at the beginning of your learning, because everyone makes this mistake all the time. So please pay extra. If there's one part of the video you must pay attention to, it's right now more than anything else. Okay? In French, we use avoir to talk about the age. In English, you say I am 25 years old. In French, we say I have 25 years. Okay? In French, age is something that you have. Okay? Please keep this in mind, because it's so frustrating when you hear for the billionth time people using être to talk about their age instead of avoir. So let's learn avoir. Again, I want you to learn this verb by heart. This is the most important verb in French, alongside with être. So it's absolutely fundamental. Let's go. J'ai. Tu as. Tu as. Donc, j'ai, I have. Tu as, you have. Il a. Il a. He has. Elle a. Elle a. She has. Nous avons. Nous avons. Nous avons. We have. Vous avez. Vous avez. Vous avez. You have. Ils ont. They have for men. Ils ont. Elles ont. They have for women. Elles ont. Très bien. So, that's the way to say your age, okay? J'ai. So, j'ai is the verb avoir, right? Okay? Like we saw here. I have. Then this X letter right here should be your age, should be a number. And an is the equivalent of years old. So that's a unit of years that we use for the age. Okay? It's pronounced an. That's only one sound. You don't care about the N, you don't care about the S, you just pronounce it an. An is a sound that comes from your nose. When I say an, I can feel the small bones here vibrating. An. Okay? Par exemple, for example, j'ai 30 ans. There's a big issue here, obviously. You haven't learned the numbers yet. So, again, just like for the nationalities, I have put a resource file below this video in the course. So you can go there. In the next chapters, we are going to learn about numbers. So for today, just go to the file and check what's the number of your age and practice saying it. You can check the pronunciation, okay? So for today, your goal is just to learn one number, which is the number of your age, okay? And I think in 2 chapters from now, we're going to learn the numbers. Très bien. Donc, par exemple, hein, j'ai 30 ans. I am 30 years old. Okay? Très bien. If I want to say your age, okay, you are 30 years old, then tu as 30 ans. Vous avez 30 ans. Again. Tu as 30 ans. You are 30 years old. Vous avez 30 ans. You have 30 years old. Okay? Très bien. And just like we did previously with the name, I can replace this information, 30 ans. This is the key information in the sentence, right? I can replace it by a question word to ask the question. Boom! I just replaced it by a question word. Quel âge? Which means, what age? What's your age? Okay? Tu as quel âge is something like, what age do you have? That's how we ask in French. So, these questions, they mean, how old are you? Alright? Tu as quel âge? Tu as quel âge? Tu as quel âge? Informal and the formal one. Vous avez quel âge? Vous avez quel âge? Très bien. Par exemple, tu as quel âge? J'ai 30 ans. How old are you? I have 30 years. Ok? Très bien. Donc, voici un nouveau dialogue. You can repeat after me. Tu peux répéter après moi. Salut. Salut. Ça va? Ça va et toi? Ça va. Tu t'appelles comment? Je m'appelle Mehdi. Et toi? Je m'appelle Sylvie. Enchanté. Enchanté. Tu as quel âge? J'ai 25 ans. Et toi? J'ai 24 ans. So don't pay too much attention to the numbers here. I don't review it too much because we haven't learned the numbers yet. But you should be comfortable with the logic of tu as quel âge? J'ai ans. Et toi? J'ai ans. Ok? Très bien. Et formel. Vous avez quel âge? J'ai ans. Et vous? J'ai ans. Ok? Same logic. If you pause the video right here and read this dialogue or this dialogue, every single sentence should make sense. Every sentence. We've went through everything. Okay? And last part already, how to say goodbye. So it's pretty straightforward. I have put here the three main ways to say goodbye. There's not much to say here. Au revoir is the most generic way to say goodbye. You cannot go wrong with it. It's the equivalent of bonjour to say hello or goodbye in English. It's very generic and perfectly fine. Au revoir. We've seen it actually in the first chapter for pronunciation, so you know this one already. Au revoir. Salut. Salut can be used to say hi or to say bye. There's no difference in your tone or in your pronunciation. Only the context of the situation. People will understand if you mean hi or bye. Okay? Salut. And a nice touch that I like. Bonne journée is like wishing someone they have a nice day. So when you say bye to someone, you can actually say like au revoir, bonne journée. It's like bye bye, have a nice day. Okay? Bonne journée. Bonne journée. Bonne journée. Au revoir, bonne journée, salut. Très bien. And that's it. That's it for today. Congratulations. Let's recap everything we have seen today. So, to say hello. Bonjour. Salut. Bonsoir. Très bien. Ça va? Ça va. Ok. Physical contact when greeting someone, the recap of what we've seen. Okay. Formal way to ask for the name. Je m'appelle, par exemple, je m'appelle Nicolas. Et toi, tu t'appelles comment? Formel. Je m'appelle Nicolas. Et vous, vous vous appelez comment? Vous vous appelez comment? Très bien. Enchanté. Je suis français. So, the nationality. For example, if I'm French. Je suis français. Et toi, tu viens d'où? Formel. Je suis français. Et vous, vous venez d'où? Maintenant, l'âge, informel. J'ai ans. Et toi, tu as quel âge? Formel. J'ai ans. Et vous, vous avez quel âge? Très bien. Au revoir. Salut. Bonne journée. Très bien. Okay, let's review these last dialogues, full dialogues. Okay? You can repeat after me. Salut, salut, ça va? Ça va et toi? Ça va. Tu t'appelles comment? Je m'appelle Sylvie. Et toi? Je m'appelle Mehdi. Enchanté. Enchanté. Tu as quel âge, Mehdi? J'ai 25 ans. Et toi? J'ai 24 ans. Tu viens d'où? Je suis marocain. Et toi? Je suis suisse. Bla 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 bla. Salut Sylvie. Salut Mehdi. Bonne journée. Très bien. I will be Mehdi. No, I will be Sylvie and you will be Mehdi. Salut. Ça va et toi? Je m'appelle Sylvie. Et toi? Enchanté. Tu as quel âge, Mehdi? J'ai 24 ans. Tu viens d'où? Je suis suisse. Salut Mehdi, bonne journée. Okay? Now we switch. It's almost over. Don't worry, hein? But let's stay strong and focused. Your turn to start. Salut, ça va? Ça va. Tu t'appelles comment? Je m'appelle Mehdi. Enchanté. J'ai 25 ans. Et toi? Je suis marocain. Et toi? Salut Sylvie. I just realized, I think in the previous dialogue, I got confused. I confused myself, I think. I have to check okay. Sorry if I made a small mistake here. What's important is that you repeat after me and you specifically focus on pronunciation. Last one, c'est parti. You can repeat after me. De formel. Bonjour. Bonjour. Vous vous appelez comment? Je m'appelle Sylvie. Et vous? Je m'appelle Mehdi. Enchanté. Enchanté. Vous avez quel âge, Mehdi? J'ai 25 ans. Et vous? J'ai 24 ans. Vous venez d'où? Je suis marocain. Et vous? Je suis suisse. Au revoir Sylvie. Au revoir Mehdi. Bonne journée. Très bien. Now I start. Bonjour. Je m'appelle Sylvie. Et vous? Enchanté. Vous avez quel âge, Mehdi? J'ai 24 ans. Vous venez d'où? Je suis suisse. Au revoir, Mehdi. Bonne journée. Now we switch. You start. Bonjour. Vous vous appelez comment? Je m'appelle Mehdi. Enchanté. J'ai 25 ans. Et vous? Je suis marocain. Et vous? Au revoir, Sylvie. Très bien. And finally, this is your own introduction. So in the homeworks below the video, you will fill in this one in the homeworks. But you can do it right now actually. Par exemple, pour moi, bonjour, je m'appelle Nicolas, je suis français, j'ai 28 ans. Very easy introduction. Congratulations for reaching this far. I think we can stop here for today. That was a lot of information. The lesson is not over. You have the homeworks to do before next time. So please go check out the homework file below this video. And after doing the homeworks, you can check the solution video to check your answers. In the next chapter, finally, we are going to see numbers, not all of them, but we will introduce the first French numbers. And most importantly, I am going to introduce you to the most important topic of French pronunciation, which is the liaison. How do we link words together to make sentences sound nice? And I will explain to you why this principle is literally what makes French sound good in the mind of a lot of people. So this topic will be very, very important. Prends soin de toi, travaille bien, bon courage pour les révisions, pour les devoirs. À bientôt mon pote, bisous.